Divas, welcome or welcome back to the channel. I am so happy you're here. Before you go anywhere, like, subscribe, share with a friend. I'm enjoying this. I think you're enjoying this. And I would just love for all of us to continue enjoying this together. Okay, now that that's out of the way, I wanted to participate in this end of year tag situation. Yes, there was a mid-year book freakout tag that happened. It was a good time, so I thought, why not? Let's do the end of year one. Yes. Okay, so bear with me. I do have the list of questions here. That said, as if you've been around for a hot minute, you know that I kind of like I participate and do things and then kind of like add my own stank to it. So this is like an amalgamation of different questions that I have found on different videos. And I thought I would put them all here together to give us like a robust exploration of this end of year tag. Yeah, let's go on this journey together. Okay, the first question, are there any books you started this year that you still need to finish? At first I thought like, no, I have like finished all the books that I've started, but y'all, unfortunately, The Buffalo Hunter I've not reached the end. Now, I started reading it several months ago, and because I made different choices with my reading goals, I like put it aside as a, not a DNF, but as a like finish it later. And we still haven't finished it. Listen, I am enjoying it like 30,000 foot view, but there's something about it that feels a little like Baroque maybe. And it's like keeping me a little bit at arm's length, but I'm still enjoying it. So this is one that I'm going to force myself to finish because I do like it and I hear the ending is cool. So I want to hear what happens at the end. Also, I have something in my gut tells me this may be on the New York Times, like top 5 fiction books of the year. And I always like to read that list and yap about it on the internet. And I also have a strong stance that I cannot yap about that list or most lists unless I have read the books. So I'm going to finish it. Will it be on the list? I don't know. It was on their like their first, they put out an article that was like, these are the ones that are shaping up to be our faves. So like that was part of the reason I first picked it up. So anyways, I am bound and determined to finish this. I would like to finish it this week. What? Can it happen? Listen, I've overcommitted myself, so no judgment. Stop looking at me like that. So that's the one I need to finish because it's really the only one that's kind of like lingered, right? Okay, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? Okay, so I did a 10 before the end, and maybe I'll do a 10 before the end on YouTube because I think I just did it on my other channels. Stay tuned for that vid. 3 that I like want to for sure finish are The Sisters. So this book has been on my radar since it came out. It was long listed for the National Book Award. I think I predicted that it was going to be on the long list. What? Almost all of my other predictions were incorrect, so that's not saying much, but it was on that list. I believe this is Kamiri's first work that they've written in English because English is not their first language. And one of the things that really drew me to this is it's a story about sisters attempting to like escape a curse, which I was like, okay, like there are elements of that that I could get down with. But then apparently he really plays with time. And so like each of these sections is delineated by like a period of time. And I think he explores like from a year all the way down to a second. I think that's fascinating. I love when authors do stuff like that, especially well. And I've heard good things about it. It's a honker and a half, but I'm thinking like holiday season, it's already starting to get cold. The heat came on in my apartment, which we're having a moment of silence for that. Because I'm not ready. My body's not ready. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. I would prefer that, I guess, than like the global warming alternative, though it's real. Anyways, so I'm very excited to read The Sisters. That is one I for sure want to read before the end of the year. Another one is Dusk. Simon Savage on here sold this to me hard. And then he was kind enough to send me a copy of it, which was very kind of him. I think that this is a, oh, and I forgot, he sent me also a very sweet note. Simon is truly the best. And like so knowledgeable and so kind and like so funny. But yes, so I don't know if this was it. Yeah, this is signed as well. So I don't know if this was like a specific, like London edition or if it was like a special like independent bookstore edition, but like the sprayed edges are really sexy, right? And my understanding is it's about a puma and a set of twins that like grab a third partner and they go and hunt the puma, potential. And madness ensues, and apparently the ending is very like twisty turny or like surprising. We'll see. I will say Simon has sold this so hard that it better be friggin' brilliant. You know what I'm saying? That said, he did buy my copy of it, so like we're only losing time if I don't like it, right? There's not a monetary investment. But all that to say, Simon, better be good. And then I am going to read Freedom by Jonathan Franzen. I really love the corrections. I read Crossroads and I really enjoyed it and I thought it was cool. And then I read the corrections and I was like, Franzen, I get it. I get it. And so I'm really excited to read Freedom. I'm going to be honest, I don't know much about it and I don't really want to know much about it. I do think it's about like a marriage that might be crumbling based on some comments that I've had on some of my other videos, which I don't mind. I think that was actually like, so someone was being very vulnerable and sharing like really beautiful things about their life and how this book connected with them and to them and like why it's been like on their mind and in their heart for so long. So to that end, excited about it. And like, that's like the little bit that I know about it. So yeah, very into it. My understanding is, yeah, it's just like quintessential Franzen, like this is probably like middle America, family dynamics, interpersonal relationships. And I just know the dialogue is going to be like the realism is going to be through the roof. I just can't. I mean, do I see? Look, there are quotes right there. Oh, I just know like his dialogue is dialogue. Ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so those are the 3 books that I want to finish by the end of the year. From Deep Love and Affection, I think we're going to get more than 3 in just based on past reading habits this year. But who's to say? Who's to say? Okay, the next question. What trends have you noticed in your reading this year? Voluminous. There have been a lot of books that I have read this year, more so than many in recent history. I am okay with that. I think that part of the reason is that like life kind of shifted in a way that like allowed me and the opportunity to be a little more introspective. I think books help me be a little more introspective. They also keep me from doom scrolling. And I don't know if you've been paying attention, but there is 1 or 2 things going on in the world that are, at least to me, vaguely unsettling. And so instead of scrolling, and which I have found especially recently being fed content to ignite, instead I can read a book. And I can explore other worlds. And I don't feel, I mean, is it escapist? Sure, to a degree, absolutely. But I also feel like the way I read is like really understanding and studying and digging into the way an author engages with words, which is part of what I do for like making money. And so that's an exciting piece to me. And so it keeps my brain like always going. Yeah. So it's not just like an escapist exercise, especially with the types of books I read. That's just not really, it's not escapist type literature, right? A lot of this kind of requires a different level of like thinking and consumption, which I've enjoyed. So yeah, I do feel like there have been some honkers this year, maybe like more honkers in a collected period of time than in years past. But that I think is another video. Maybe I'll do that. I'll kind of like count up the honkers. Oh, because like we've got, yeah. Huh. I actually wonder, I do keep like a list of like all of the books that I've read. I've tried them in different apps and like it does okay. I have relative different issues and conversations to be had about some of those apps. But I also keep the page number running. And I think that would be interesting to know like how many pages that I've read. Not as like a weird badge thing. Some people are really weird about like, I've read 7,958 books this year. And like, this is weird. Humbling. It's just not the vibe for me. But I do think it'd be interesting to know like how many pages I read, especially if this is a year of like many a honker. So we'll see. Okay. How do you feel about your reading goals? Oh, I guess that's really closely tied to that. Yeah, I feel like I have like absolutely incinerated them. I think my initial goal was 52, and I think I'm at book 103. So there we are. How do I feel? I've enjoyed, which I guess this also goes to the what are my reading trends. I've been getting into audiobooks, I think for the first time this year. They've just not really been on my radar for myriad reasons, but like I've enjoyed that. And it's been like an interesting experience. And like, how do I feel about reading goals? It's like kind of fun that they have like helped those reading goals. Yeah. And now I don't have to like read books between sets because I can just like listen to them. Because I used to always take a book with me to the gym, which actually I did make some friends. None of them were friends that I wanted to like go to dinner with, but friends nonetheless. Some very charming middle-aged women would come up to me and make comments about the fact that I was like carrying around a hardback book at the gym. And that was lovely, and they're lovely. And I guess I do miss those interactions. But other than that, it has been nice to like, because normally I would time it. So like, okay, this page normally takes me X number of minutes because of this author. So then if I'm like resting between sets, should be this number of minutes, then this is roughly number of pages I need to read. Now I can just kind of like listen because I do some audiobook at the gym. Okay, is there a new release you're still waiting for? I guess I'm not waiting for it, but Patti Smith's new book, and I'm really enjoying it. I didn't read Just Kids. I know, don't I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. But it's really lovely. I think it's just the writing is beautiful and it's just gorgeous. And I feel like this is one that it was already on my radar, and then I was sent an advance copy, which was so kind. And yeah, Bread of Angels, Patti Smith. That is the that is the new release I'm still waiting for 2025. Do you have an autumnal book to transition you to the end of the year? Listen, I didn't know how to answer that question, and I wasn't going to include it. I don't autumnal. No, no. How would you describe an autumnal book? To me, these honkers are autumnal. I mean, I don't think Freedom is set in autumn. What do I know? But like, something about the size of this feels autumnal, cozy. We're gonna cozy into you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm also not like really like a cozy reader. I don't know. Don't hold me up to this yet. I may try to dive into Pride and Prejudice. Is that cozy? I don't think it is. I know I have huge like reading gaps. I'm a very prolific reader and also like huge gaps. So I don't know. I think no. Let me know. What would you all describe as an autumnal book? I thought that was a weird question, and I don't know how to answer it. What's my biggest disappointment? Unfortunately, it's Murakami's The City and Its Uncertain Walls. I love Murakami, and this one just did not hit for me. And I think I built it up in my head because I love him so much. It just didn't work. And then I am so sorry to the internet, but I who have never known men, it just wasn't for me. I didn't like it. I didn't get it. I didn't know where we were going. Someone I think talked about that, like maybe it was like somehow like the psyche of a woman and like what it feels like to be inside a woman's head or something. And that made it vaguely more interesting, but then also like doesn't feel accurate. And there's a lot of like desolate descriptions. And I feel women are quite vibrant and alive and like fascinating creatures, right? So like that also, now that I'm like thinking about that, like, is it? And maybe there was more depth there in what they were trying to describe, but like, I don't know. It just didn't work. And I feel bad because I love Murakami and I really wanted to love the other one, but here we are. Okay. What is a book that made you cry or made you happy? Well, lucky for y'all, I have both. Now, shocking about the crying because I'm a crier, but Things in Nature Merely Grow by Yi Yun Lee. Have you not read it? Why not? It is literally a K-hole of depression in like the most respectful way. She had two children and both of them have unalived themselves. And this is a response, I believe, to the second one's unaliving. It is beautifully powerful. I have such reverence for and respect for this work. It's one that I don't even feel we can like discuss more than pay homage to the fact that it exists and give it the respect that it truly deserves. Um, I'm in awe of this work and the fact that the author was able to craft something from that deep um, grief, which is also interesting too because she has like a fascinating exploration and take on grief specifically. It's great. It's great. One that just like made me laugh and just like kind of like warmed my heart. Lita Pearl's Love Biscuits, and I think I'm saying that right. I think it's Lita. I want to say Leda, but I think it's Lita. Lita Pearl. I think it's Lita Pearl. Now, listen, I grew up in the United States of Texas, and this book brought my accent out. This one when I'm talking to my grandma. But it's just so fun. It's giving like Reese Witherspoon, like Sweet Home Alabama era. And the villain is very much Bryce Howard Dallas in The Help. And like that whole juxtaposition, it's set in the South. There's like a love triangle. He's sexy football coach. I'm in. It's light, it's fun. It's just like there's a little bit of magic, which is very Southern in like the best possible way. I thought it was just so charming. And Arlen is just like such a dear. And like his Instagram is just like a hoot and a half. Anyways, that one made me happy. It was just like, oh, this is just like happy and light and like it was like a great biscuit. Know what I'm saying? It was great. The most anticipated book for the rest of the year. So I cannot wait to buddy read The Slip with Simon Savage. I am so excited for this book. It is set in the United States of Texas, Austin, I believe. It is about, I think, like gender identity, being queer, boxing, and then there's a big like mystery. Somebody disappears. I think it opens with like an article about the disappearance. So we're like jumping right in. That's what Simon told me. I have not cracked it yet. But in my defense, I don't think we are cracking it until next week. So yeah. But this one, I've just heard a lot of like great buzz about it. I think it might have won the Kirkus Prize. Into it. Very excited. And what's your favorite book you've read this year? Sophie's choice. I don't know, but I do feel like maybe, I don't know. I want to say potentially one of my four favorites for the Booker Prize, which is The Loneliness of Sonia and Sunny, Audition, Flesh, or The Land in Winter. But I did read some backlist bangers this year, and like The Corrections is incredible. The Line of Beauty is amazing. I read Tin Man this year, which I loved. I don't think that would be my favorite book of the year, though. Oh my gosh. And Fox, loved Fox. Oh my gosh. And all of the translated literature. How could we forget Hunchback? How could we forget We Do Not Part? How do we forget The Impusium? How do we forget Under the Eye of the Big Bird? I also read The Vegetarian this year. Like, listen. I don't think I'm ready to make that choice. And I don't think I should have to. So to that end, I'm not going to. Oh my gosh, it is always wild and crazy over here. But all of that to say, it sounds like I'm going to need to spend quite a bit of time whittling down what some of my favorites are. Because also what makes this tricky too is that like we've got the new titles, then we've got backlist titles, then we've got titles that are like outside my genre that I like loved. You know what I mean? So it's like, how does some of those compete with like Booker Prize winners? And I think that like they all hold their space. I think that's what's tricky is that like, to say they're your favorite, but like in what? Like, I feel like I almost need like categories. Am I going to do like my own Academy Awards for the books? That's insane. But maybe, listen, that could be a fun, silly video. Yeah, would y'all watch that? Is that interesting? Like, I wonder if I read enough in each category to kind of like group them all together and then have like winners in each category. Like thriller slash horror slash backlist titles slash new works slash literary fiction. I don't know. We'll see. I'll play with that. Would that be interesting? I don't know. All that to say, I've been having fun talking about books. Again, one last time because I am not good at this. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. I would love to grow this fun little community that we're all creating. I like your comments, like, are generally so kind and also sometimes challenge me in fun ways that like require, additional substantiation and conversation around some of these titles, which I think is so fun. So I would just love to continue to grow this community and like continue to talk about books because for a thousand reasons. I think books are magical, and also we're in the middle of a literacy crisis, so we should all be reading, yes? And the more I read, the more books we have to talk about, because then there's maybe more overlap, yeah? Great. Let me know if you all have done this book tag. Tag me in your book tags if you have done them. I would love to watch and see what y'all have done. This is my contribution to this fun booktube community and my end of your book tag. See you next week.